Zeek the robot has powered to Earth to learn all about our animals. Let's join Zeek on his adventure as he discovers the animals that live down under in Australia, like the amazing platypus and the cuddly koala. Strap on your explorer boots and hold on tight as we venture into Zeek's animal world. G'day Zeek! Today we're in Australia, finding out about the wonderful animals that live on this vast continent. And we'll start with the creature that is probably Australia's most famous, the kangaroo. Yes, Zeek, they are big animals. Just take a look at their big, powerful legs. Those strong legs and big feet are used for jumping, and boy, can they get some speed up. A male kangaroo is called a boomer, a female is a flyer, and a baby kangaroo is called a joey. All female kangaroos have front opening pouches, which contain 4 teats. This is where the joey or young kangaroo is raised until it can survive outside on its own. A group of kangaroos is called a mob, Zeek, and kangaroos are herbivores. That means that they eat a range of plants. Zeek, see how the kangaroo's tail is used to balance while hopping and as a 5th limb when moving slowly? Kangaroos of different types live in all the diverse areas of Australia, from cold climate rainforests and desert plains to tropical areas. Yes, see, kangaroos are fantastic at jumping and can travel long distances. A kangaroo stands taller than a man and can weigh 85 kilograms. It's the largest marsupial in the world. So Zeek, what is a marsupial? Marsupials are a group of animals in which the female has a pouch on her tummy which holds her babies and has teats for the young to drink milk. Kangaroos certainly are interesting. They have very good hearing, excellent eyesight and a keen sense of smell. So what else have we learnt about kangaroos, Zeek? We know they have very powerful legs and a baby kangaroo is called a joey. Female kangaroos have a pouch on their stomachs and a group of kangaroos is called a mob. Looks like you've got the jump on kangaroos, Zeek. Well done! This Australian animal is very strange looking, Zeek. Is it a duck? Is it a beaver? No, it's the platypus. The shy platypus is found on the edges of rivers and freshwater lakes where burrows can be dug. The platypus has a bill that resembles a duck's bill, but is actually an elongated snout covered with soft, moist, leathery skin and sensitive nerve endings. Yes, Zeek, the platypus is a very good swimmer. Thick fur fibres trap a layer of air next to the skin. This keeps the platypus nice and warm, and this is important for an animal that spends up to 12 hours each day in very cold water. During the day, a platypus often rests in his burrow, spending time near the entrance basking in the sun and grooming his thick fur. Platypuses are most active for several hours after dusk and before dawn. And of course, Zeek, they're renowned for their excellence in the water as both a diver and swimmer. What else have we dug up about the amazing platypus, Zeek? We know that he has a bill used to find food, and his thick layers of fur keep him warm in very cold water. Platypuses are found in fresh water, and they dig burrows. Good work investigating the platypus, Zeek. Zeek, You're about to come face to face with another famous Australian animal. This is the emu. The emu is a large flightless bird, just like its cousin the ostrich. That's right, Zeek, even though these birds have wings, they can't fly. But that doesn't stop them getting around. They can run extremely fast. Emus feed on grass and leaves. That's right, Zeek. That means that they're herbivores. They live all over Australia in grasslands. The female lays up to 20 eggs, which are large and a soft dark green in colour. But it's the daddy emu that sits on the eggs for 7 to 8 weeks without leaving the nest. When the eggs hatch, the male emu looks after the hatchlings for another 6 months. With their very strong legs and toes, emus can run in bursts of up to 50 kilometres per hour. Zeek, that's almost breaking the traffic speed limit. Oh look, Zeek, here's a baby emu hatching out of his egg. I bet his dad is going to enjoy looking after him for the next 6 months. Emus make their nests on the ground and they can be 1.5 metres wide. That's about as big as a Volkswagen Beetle. There are lots of hungry mouths to feed here, Zeek. I think that Daddy Emu is going to have his work cut out for him. Emus are shy birds, but very curious, and will always investigate anything new and interesting they come across. So what else have we found out about emus, Zeek? We know that emus are flightless, but can run very fast. The female emu lays around 20 eggs and they're herbivores. That means they eat plants. Another investigation complete. Well done, Zeek. Zeek, this bird is the black-breasted buzzard, and it's one of the larger Australian birds of prey. That means he hunts for his food. Known for its huge wingspan and a square tail, the buzzard specialises in feeding on large eggs, including those of emus, which it cracks with a rock. This is one smart creature, Zeek. Let's just watch how he goes about getting his lunch. Careful, you don't want to get in the way of that powerful beak, Zeek. Okay, Zeek, take me through what we've learnt about Australia's black-breasted buzzard. We know this is a very smart bird with a large wingspan. It has a square tail and hunts for his food. Good job, Zeek. Come on, it's time to fly. Oh, Zeek, take a look at this cuddly fellow. You'll only find this animal down under in Australia. It's the beautiful koala. Zeek, koalas are very docile animals. They spend around 20 hours a day sleeping. What a way to laze away the day, snoozing on the branch of a gum tree. The reason koalas are so sleepy is because they need to conserve energy to compensate for their low-energy diet of eucalyptus leaves. Baby koalas like to hitch a ride on their mother's backs. They hold on tight around her neck as she travels up the gum trees. This little one is certainly enjoying the view, Zeek. Just like kangaroos, koalas are marsupials and carry their babies in a pouch. When koalas are born, they are only 2 centimetres long. That's about as big as a jelly bean. When koalas aren't sleeping, they're eating, and an adult can eat about 1 kilo of eucalyptus leaves a night. That's the same weight as a big bag of sugar. Koalas don't normally need to drink. They get all the moisture they need from the gum leaves. The baby koala is called a joey, and he rides on his mother's back until he leaves home to take care of himself at about 1 year old. Look, Zeek, this baby is snuggled up with his mum. Zeek, koalas are nocturnal animals. This means that they sleep in the daytime and move around and feed at night. Koalas communicate with each other by making a noise like a snore and then a belch known as a bellow. It almost sounds like a pig snorting. The koala's fur is thick, soft and pleasant to touch. Their ears have long white hairs on the tips. This is certainly one cuddly Australian animal, Zeek. If you're lucky enough to visit a zoo or wildlife park, you might be able to pat a koala. But in the wild, these shy animals don't like to be touched. Sharp claws and 2 thumbs on each hand make racing up a 15-story tall gum tree easy for a koala. Zeek, unlike other animals, koalas don't live in families. They're solitary animals and prefer to live on their own. But mummy koalas like to keep their babies with them until they're 1 year old, and then it's time to leave home. Koalas can't run very fast or for very long, so they're most vulnerable on the ground. That means they could get injured by dogs or even hit by a car. This tiny koala was found alone in the bush and brought to the animal hospital, Zeek. He'll be released back into the wild when he's old enough. Even though koalas look like bears, they're not, Zeek. Koalas are mammals called marsupials. Remember, Zeek, female marsupials usually have pouches where their newborn babies finish growing. Zeek, it's very sad, but there are fewer than 100,000 koalas left. This is partly because their homes are being destroyed. But lots of people are looking out for the koala. They're protected, and it's against the law to hurt them. Koalas can live for up to 17 years, Zeek. How old do you think this koala is? Okay, Zeek, let's climb through all the facts we've learnt about the lovely koala. Koalas are marsupials and they like to eat eucalyptus leaves. They're nocturnal. That means they come out at night to feed. And the female koalas have a pouch to carry their babies in. Excellent work. I think you know all there is to know about the koala, Zeek. Zeek, here's another furry Australian marsupial. It's the possum. Ranging from the larger brush-tailed possum to the smaller feather-tailed glider, these furry, pop-eyed nocturnal creatures are a delight to watch as they perform their nighttime acrobatic displays. Possums are herbivores and love to eat fruit. Watch out, Zeek, this wombat is on the run. While possums live in trees, wombats like to dig burrows in the ground, but both animals live in woodland areas. Zeek, we know that possums and wombats are marsupials that live in woodland areas. They're nocturnal, so they're busiest at night, and both are herbivores, eating nothing but plant matter. Way to go, Zeek. Yes, Zeek, I know we've already had a look at the Australian kangaroo. And even though this animal looks a lot like it, it's actually a different marsupial. Say hello to the wallaby. He's sort of a shorter, fatter version of the kangaroo. Like lots of other marsupials, baby wallabies are called joeys. And yes, Zeke, they stay in their mother's pouch until fully grown. But there's no room in that pouch for you, Zeke. Male wallabies are called boomers, females are flyers, and just like kangaroos, wallabies get around by hopping. Wallabies like to live in grassland, thick bush, dense rainforests and rocky areas. Take a look at those giant feet, Zeke. No wonder this animal is such a good jumper. Wallabies have very good hearing. Their big ears can pick up sounds a long way away. These harmless creatures are an important part of Australia's wildlife. They certainly are nimble, Zeke. You'd have to be very quiet and very lucky to spot one in the wild. Oh look, here's a joey peeping out of his mother's pouch. You're right, Zeke. Wallabies are wonderful. What else have we learnt about them? We discovered that a female is called a flyer and the male is known as a boomer. Wallabies hop to get around and they live in grassland areas. Zeke, our next animal from down under, is one of the most interesting. Look high in the trees and you'll see them flying around. They're called flying foxes, but don't be fooled by the name. Although their faces look a little like a fox, in fact, they're more like bats. Flying foxes like to hang upside down and sleep during the day. But when the sun goes down, they come out to play. That's right, Zeke, they're nocturnal. That means that they're active at night time. Just look at the size of those wings. The flying fox's long arms have special skin between their fingers. This skin creates wings that allows them to fly. Flying foxes are social animals, Zeke, and like to live together. Zeke, flying foxes like to eat pollen and nectar from blossoms of eucalyptus trees. They also feed on flowers and fruit. That's why some people call them fruit bats. After a night of flying and feeding, the flying foxes come back to their trees to roost. Roosting is when the flying foxes hang upside down and have a snooze. Would you like to sleep upside down, Zeke? We've learnt that flying foxes are nocturnal and fly at night. They have big wings made from a special skin and they roost in trees. Flying foxes are social animals and live in large colonies. I hope you enjoyed meeting the flying fox, Zeke. Now here's an animal that doesn't look quite at home down under here in Australia, Zeke. That's because the water buffalo isn't native to Australia. It was brought to this country from another part of the world. Wow, look at the horns on this guy. You certainly wouldn't want to get into a tangle with him, Zeek. And I'm sure most of Australia's wildlife is glad that there aren't too many left in the continent. You see, although water buffalo live happily in other parts of the world, when they arrived in Australia, they started doing serious damage to the wetlands and brought with them new diseases. Water buffaloes like to swim in swamps and wetlands. A male water buffalo is called a bull and a female is called a cow. Stay clear of those horns, Zeke. Different breeds of water buffalo have different horns. Some are curled, some are longer and swept back, and some grow way out to the sides, like this one. That bird is very brave to balance on the water buffalo's horn, Zeke. In some countries, water buffalo are kept as farm animals, and they love a big feed of fresh green grass. This is a water buffalo farm, and the animals are kept happy with lots of mud to wallow in. So what else have we discovered about water buffalo, Zeek? The male water buffalo is a bull, and the female is called a cow. They like to live in swamps and wetlands, and they can have very different shaped horns. Mission completed, Zeek. This water hides another animal that has been introduced to Australia, Zeek, the cane toad. This giant toad hopped down under to help get rid of a beetle, but instead of eating the pests, the cane toad became a pest itself. You're right, Zeek, rabbits were introduced to Australia as well, and from just a few pairs, the country now has thousands and thousands of them. Rabbits have become a big problem for Australia's farmers, eating crops and damaging the countryside. Wild rabbits breed so quickly that population numbers have to be controlled. Cane toads and rabbits were introduced to Australia, and they breed very quickly. They damage the environment, and their numbers need to be controlled. Zeek, our last animal from down under is the lovely camel, and Australia's deserts are full of them. Camels have soft padded feet to help them walk through the sand. This camel is enjoying a feed of tasty leaves. Camels are herbivores, so grass and leaves are always on the menu. Camels were brought to Australia from the Middle East with their Afghan handlers to provide transport in the desert in the 1800s. Zeek, before you think about having a camel as a pet, you'll need to know that they can live for up to 50 years, weigh up to 680 kilograms, and grow to be over 2 meters tall. A male camel is called a bull, a female is a cow, and camels can travel long distances without needing a drink of water. Zeek, camels have a double row of curly long eyelashes to keep sand and dust out, and a third eyelid acts as a windshield wiper, moving from side to side to wipe the sand away. The camel is a mammal, and that means that the mummy camel feeds her baby milk. If camels are really thirsty, they can drink 100 litres of water in 10 minutes. That's like drinking 100 cartons of milk. So what have we uncovered about the camel? Camels were brought to Australia as transport, and they like to eat green grass. The male camel is the bull, and the female is the cow. I hope you've learnt a lot about animals down under, Zeek. See you next time!